Okay, today we're going to be showing you guys how to set up the Dynam 3GS Gyro System for airplanes. I have the system right here. I have the USB connector plugged up to it. It also comes with a series of connectors that you plug into your receiver. Today I'll be using the 2.4 GHz Dynam receiver. You can also use a Spectrum, Futaba, or FlySky receiver. The only thing you want to make sure you watch out for is the channels. Notice how the elevator, aileron, rudder channels are all different among different receiver brands. Just make sure you plug the correct plug into the correct channel on whichever receiver you're using. You want to make sure all your servo plugs from your servos are going into the gyro, and you want to make sure all your gyro plugs are going into your receiver. I have a diagram right here for you guys to look at. I'll pause on it for a little bit. Notice that the 3GS up here, that is the gyro. Down here, that's your receiver. You want to take note of this port right here, pitch, elevator, and auxiliary. There's a plug that goes in there, and it splits off into 3 different channels. When it splits off into 3 different channels, one of them goes to aux 1. The white wire goes into aux 1. The black wire goes into gear. And the red wire goes into elevator. Then your aileron links up to, from your gyro, links up to your receiver aileron channel, and your rudder channel links up to your receiver rudder channel. Now, as mentioned before, if you have a different receiver and these are switched up, just make sure you plug them into the correct ports. And up here where you see channel 1, 2, 3, and 4, that's where your servo plugs are going to. Elevator, servo into channel 3, not your ESC. That should be kind of confusing, but channel 3 is your elevator servo. Channel 2 and 1 are going to be your left and right aileron servos. Channel 4 is going to be your rudder servo. Your ESC is going to be plugged into your receiver on the channel 3, or your throttle channel. Just going to pause here so you guys can get a good look at the diagram. And you want to make sure you plug it up correctly, or else the following menus and the settings we're going to do with the software are not going to work. Again, guys, this is for a conventional airplane setup. Let's move on over to an airplane. We haven't installed an airplane. Right here, everything's kind of mounted outside so you guys can see. That's the gyro receiver hooked up. As mentioned earlier, there's a plug that splits off into 3 right here. It's plugged up to the top port. It splits off into the receiver. We have all our servos going into the gyro, and this one's already set up. See how it's compensating. Check out the rudder. It's compensating. Alright, let's move over to the computer and the software and what you're going to have to program. So first thing you want to do is make sure your USB thing is plugged into the gyro. Have that plugged into your computer. Plug it into a USB port. Light's going to come on. This isn't plugged up, but all your servos and your receiver is going to be plugged on. Your receiver is also going to be on, and so is your transmitter. We're going to move on to the computer. Make sure you have that 3GS Gyro software system installed. Open it up. And we're going to look up in this corner. Over here it says connect. Make sure you select the right COM port for where your USB port is plugged into. Click connect. You're going to get green lights. If you're not getting a connection, you'll see, if you hold your mouse over it, it'll tell you why or why not. It's kind of like a troubleshoot. Once you have the green lights, click setup. You'll notice all these menus are for helicopter setup, so we're just going to kind of ignore that. What you want to do is you want to get to, I'm going to click next, you want to get to installation. Now this will tell the software which way your gyro is sitting in your airplane. So if you have it sitting like this, or right side up, or like this, it does matter. So whichever way you have it mounted in your plane, let the software know. We're going to mount it this way, sitting upwards, direction 1. Once you have that selected, click Next. The next one you want to get to is swash plate type. It's not a mechanical or a 120 degree because it's not a helicopter. What we want to do is click on this menu right here. Now you'll notice it has quad rotor copters, delta wing plane. We're going to go conventional airplane. Click that. Down here, this is where you can reverse your servos. You can do it in this software. You can also do it in your transmitter. I prefer to leave this alone and do the servo reversing in the transmitter. So once we have conventional airplane selected, go to Quit. And right now you can kind of test, move the joystick on your transmitter to see if your servos are moving in the right direction. If not, fix it on your transmitter. Go to your channel reversing, fix that. Now if you notice when you yaw or pitch your plane left and right, if the gyro is compensating in the wrong direction, you want to go into this menu, gyro direction. Let's say if you're yawing your airplane left and right and your rudder is moving in the wrong direction, go into this menu, go to yaw. If it's on reverse, go to normal. If it's on normal, go to reverse. Let's say if your elevator is not moving in the right direction, your pitch is off, so go into there, either click reverse or normal to reverse it, and at this time you can move your plane up and down, left and right, to make sure the gyro is compensating in the right direction. Same menu for this one. This is roll. That's for your ailerons. If your plane is not compensating in the right direction, go in here and reverse it. Remember guys, if the left wing dips down, you want that flap or aileron to go up to compensate. Make sure you don't have it in the wrong direction, because if you take off, it'll spiral into the ground. So make sure you have those flaps going in the right direction. It's pretty simple. There's only 3 or 4 menus we touched on right here. All the other menus or tabs are for helicopters. Just ignore those. Click Finish. It'll tell you setup is finished. Click OK. And the next thing you want to do is kind of adjust the rate of your gyro. Adjust the roll and the return rate of your gyro. So click on Beginner. Click OK. Now you're going to be able to adjust the roll, the pitch, and the yaw, which is your aileron in this case. So over here we like to start off with say a 40, and if you feel that your servos or your ailerons are returning too slow, you can up the number and have it return faster. This is where you're really going to fine-tune how your gyro is going to react to your inputs while you're in the air. If you feel like your plane is too controlled by the gyro, turn the numbers down. That way you have more control of the plane. So for here, let's just start at 40. 40 on the pitch. Now over here it says tail rotor. Don't be confused. That's yaw rate L, yaw rate R. This is your left and right aileron. Make sure the 2 numbers match. Just go 20 to 30 on these to start off. And your gain over here, go to 10 or 15 to start off. And once you have that set, you can unplug your plane from the gyro. And just to give you guys a look, make sure it's compensating in the right direction. Not sure if you guys can see that, but that's the elevator. Notice how when I dip the tail down, it wants to dive the nose. If I raise the tail up, the elevator goes up, and it wants to raise the nose to keep it level. Same thing for the rudder. If I yaw it left or right, it's going to compensate in the right direction. And we actually flew this. Flies great. We even threw it in the air without flying it, and it glides pretty level even by just tossing the plane in the air. So there you have it. That is the airplane setup for the Dynam 3GS Gyro. If you have any questions, post it below and we'll answer it as best as we can.